What's going on, good people? It's your man, James Mack, back with another Miami video. And this time, I know either you're traveling to Miami, or you're going on a cruise, or you're thinking about moving to Miami. But this video here is gonna help you avoid the top 3 tourist traps in Miami. Let's get straight to the video. Like, subscribe, and share to somebody that might be coming to Miami, or somebody that knows about Miami, just to validate if what I'm saying is true. Now, first and foremost, let's get right into the video. The first tourist trap, and let me explain what a tourist trap is. First of all, a tourist trap or a tourist trap is where they know you're new to the city. They know you don't really know your way around. So they'll get you in these pockets, right? And you don't know the prices. You don't know how to move around from these places. And these are places where they can charge you more, where they know you can't, get an Uber really quickly or whatever the case may be. So that's why they call them tourist traps, because you're kind of stuck in this one place until you move around from that place. And the prices may change dramatically once you leave this area. So without further ado, let's get right to the point. The first, and I'm gonna give you top 3, the first tourist trap, in my opinion, would be Bayfront Park. Why do you say Bayfront Park? Listen, Bayfront is an outdoor mall and a, kind of a park as well. When you come into this area, everybody knows that you're a tourist. They know you're either here for a cruise, they know you're just visiting, they know you're just looking around. You're looking for something to eat. You're looking for some souvenirs. You're looking for these type of things, right? You're by the water. Everything feels good. You want to go on a boat ride, all these type of things. However, this is where some people take advantage of the tourists, right? You may get charged more, especially in the restaurants, right? You go to a restaurant and you think you're gonna get a good deal here, or you're here for a great time. You all order drinks, you order food, and you get the bill. The waiter brings the bill to you. Now they're timing you. They know you gotta go. They can see you frantically getting you ready to go. You have a big bus ride, or you have a cruise ship you need to get on, or you have a yacht situation that you're getting ready to go on. So you gotta go. Can I get the check, please? So what they'll do is they'll put the check together, but they'll bring you a check just with the total. So now you gotta go. People are getting up from the table and you're looking at $279, trying to figure out how did you spend $279. Usually in your hometown, you're spending somewhere like $150, $125 for everybody to eat. Now it's $279, $300 for the meals and the drinks you just had. Okay, can I get a breakdown of this? Okay, we'll be back. Now that's taking time because you need to go. You got a big bus ride, big red bus ride, tour the city, or you got a yacht boat that you're getting ready to get on, or you're getting ready to go on a cruise. You all stopped at Bayfront to hang out for a minute before you go across the bridge to your cruise. So a lot of times they know you'll just be like, okay, I gotta go, I'll pay it. When you pay that, you don't understand there's 18% gratuity already in there, sometimes 20, sometimes 25%. I've seen Bayfront restaurants push to 25% on people, right? And you gotta go, so you just pay it. You don't have a receipt. You don't have anything because they hand you the module right there for you to go ahead and make your payment. So you tap and you get out of there. You have just been caught in a tourist trap, right? That's just part of the game. Or let's just say at Bayfront Park, you go get a souvenir. One person paid $59 for the souvenir. Well, they tell you they're gonna give you a deal because you're new to the city or you're on your cruise, so you can give me $79 for the souvenir or the whatever the case may be. You see what I'm saying? And now you pay more for that because they know it's no shopping around. There's no shopping malls around Bayfront Park. That's the only part. You can get a shopping, you can do some shopping. So this is what we call tourist traps. You don't want to get caught up in Bayfront Park. Some of the things I would suggest is when you go there, ask for the prices up front of things. Then pay with your Cash App card or something like that, because you never want to swipe your regular credit card in places like Bayfront Park and these type of things, because you never know what may happen after you get on that cruise ship. If somebody adds, I've heard of stories of somebody added an extra tip or something onto their total, and now you're gone, you're out to sea, and your card has been charged. About time you get back, that's already done, a done deal. That's already done. It's been 5-6 days and you haven't, made any claims. So that's a done deal. And always, make sure you check the prices and ask a couple people around, are these the prices of this particular item? Because I just want to buy one. So that's the #1 tourist trap, because they know you don't have nowhere else to go. Where are you going to go? Walk up and down Biscayne Street, which some people do. That brings me to my second tourist trap. And that would be one of my favorite places, Brickell. Now, you ask yourself, why is Brickell a tourist trap? It's not like Bayfront where you don't have nowhere to go. Yes, in Brickell, you can move around, you can walk somewhere else, you can go downtown, you can go across the bridge, whatever the case may be. However, the lifestyle in Brickell is expensive looking or expensive feeling. So when you come to Brickell, they expect you to pay money. So when you go to restaurants, you know, specifically like Moxie's or, you know, these type of restaurants, the prices are pretty high. And if you don't know what you're getting into, you can easily sit down at the table, having a good time, order some drinks. You don't know the drinks is $22 a drink, you know, because you didn't really ask. And a lot of the menus don't really have a price on them. Yes, the food menus do, but you just don't know. And then you have the gratuity. So you can easily run up a $200, a $300 bill in this beautiful place. And then you're trying to figure out why is the bill so much? You know, it's gratuity on everything, 20% or more. 22% at times. And you must remember, you don't get these receipts like you do in a regular restaurant, so you can check through it. They have a way of giving you the module or the POS system right in your hand, so you can go ahead and swipe it or give them their card, and then they swipe your card and give it back to you. And they still want a tip, because think about it. You're in a fancy place now. You're looking at the Maseratis and the Lamborghinis outside. You're looking at everybody wearing the Balenciagas on their feet. So you want to, you know, splurge a little bit and put the 20 or 50 or $100 tip on there, not knowing it's already a gratuity on there, you know, and they're looking at you like, you know, go ahead and, you know, do something, because what's going on? You here, you look like you got money, so spend the money. That's more of a fast-paced environment. And when you go into Brickell, you're expected to spend money. When you go into Saxville, the shoes cost thousands of dollars. When you go into Brickell City Center, it's a little bit more affordable, but you're expected to spend the money. You know, unless you're just gonna go around out there, down there and just sightsee and just look around, that's fine too. And don't spend any money, that's fine. That is completely fine. But you must understand that that is a tourist destination, Brickell, and they want you to spend money. The restaurants in Brickell want you to, they're expensive. Can't go in Sexy Fish thinking that you're gonna spend $100. It's just not gonna work. It's just not gonna happen. When you get that check from Sexy Fish, it's gonna be one of the most expensive restaurants you've been to. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about in Miami. When you go to Sugar on top of the Brickell City Center, you're expected to spend that money on those drinks. You're expected to spend it and tip. This is the most expensive area, one of the most expensive areas in Miami. Let's be honest. And then when you don't do that, you're frowned upon, because this is where the tourists come, and some locals as well. But this is where the tourists come to spend money. So you have to spend that money, right? So keep that in mind when you go to Miami. The third tourist trap, in my opinion, and it really should have been a second, but I think Brickell is, you know, a little bit closer to the last destination we just talked about, Bayfront. But this destination in particular is a tourist trap for real. So this is the main one you gotta watch out for, and that's South Beach, right? South Beach is notorious for overcharging people, notorious for hitting your credit card, notorious for high prices when it's not really a upscale environment like that. They notorious for pulling scams. So you have to be careful. They know you're there. 9 times out of 10, you most likely won't have a hotel right on Washington or right on Ocean Drive. So you have to get a little bit further out to get to your hotel if you're not staying on Miami Beach, right? You may be staying in Brickell, you may be staying downtown, wherever the case, where you stand, you may be staying in Midwood, or you may be staying on Miami Beach. It's a couple things I just want to talk to you about when you go to Miami Beach as a tourist. First of all, the little tiny hotels in Miami Beach, right? We're talking about the international, these type of hotels. These hotels are trash. And I'm just being honest with you. The reviews and everything, you need to read them, you know, the websites and things like that, because when you pay your $150, you can believe me, no hotel on Miami Beach for $150 is upscale. I don't care how it looks on booking websites. It looks terrible when you get there, especially like the international, when he's saying, yes, it's close to the beach, but these are hotels with roaches. These are hotels with mice. These are hotels that are very nasty, right? And when you get to these hotels, the check-in is at 4, and most likely they won't let you check in early because it's a tourist trap. They know you getting off the plane, tired. They know you want to get to your hotel. They know you booked, you know, 3 or 4 nights already. So you can't just, if they were to let you in early, then you could say, okay, I'm here at 12. I don't like this hotel. Let me book another one. But most hotels are pretty much almost booked up by 4 o'clock. So that's a tourist trap, because they know it. By that time, you're like, oh, there's no more hotels, or a last minute hotel is crazy prices, right? So I might as well just stay, right? Because I can't cancel my reservations and then get my money back 2 weeks later or a week later, because it's not coming back on your card in 24 hours. It's gonna take 7 days. So now you want to cancel that, and Part of the tourist trap of them having you book it through another agency, like another travel agency, instead of directly through the hotel. That way they have no say so on your deposit. They have no say so on your refund. They have no say so on any of that. You have to call these travel agencies, cheaptickets.com, whatever the case may be, and deal with them, into which a lot of times they're not even answering the phone. You can't even get in touch with these people. You have to wait to try to get in touch with these. Meanwhile, the clock is still ticking, right? People are partying, people are having fun. So now you got to stay in this hotel, right? And you didn't know it was this nasty because you've seen a good deal on Miami Beach, on Washington, on Ocean Drive. And you was like, let's go ahead and do this. It's one block away from the beach. Let's go ahead and do this. But a lot of those hotels that's 1 block away from the beach, that's under $200, have been ravaged by hurricanes. They have roaches. They have infestations. They have been ran through, because you got to think every day as people coming from all over the world that want to stay on Miami Beach, that's finding the cheap hotels. And some people don't mind this type of quality because they're coming from a country where it's worse. So you must keep that in mind. Now, another thing is the same thing I told you about Bayfront, and that's with the restaurants. They have certain places, especially when you get off the big bus and things like this, they have certain restaurants that they're already in tune with. So you going down Miami Beach and you find a nice restaurant and you're getting that treatment, like, okay, what you want? You're getting that big boss treatment. You're expected to leave a big boss. Remember, these prices are elevated on Miami Beach because it's a tourist trap. A meal could be $40, $50 just for a small meal. You know, for something extravagant, it could be over $100 easily for one person. So you and your girlfriends or you and your guy friends, you go out and somebody, I'll pay for y'all. Now the bill is $500. And they're looking at you like, okay, you know, what, you know, and the gratuity over 20% is already included. Add those big drinks. You didn't know how much the margarita with the Patron was, but it was $40. It was $40 and you got 2 of them. That's $80 just for you. These are the type of things you need to keep in mind when you get to Miami Beach. Also, it's a lot of scammers on Miami Beach. So when it comes to, you know, buying, you know, CBD or marijuana or whatever the case may be outside of established places, you want to be careful with that. When it comes to giving people or cash apping people, they have scams with the cash app. So you got to be careful with that. You know, I seen a person ask for change and then I sat down at the restaurant and watched this guy. He had a cane, he was limping, he looked broke down. This guy made about $300 in the span of where I was sitting. I watched him go from person to person. He'll turn around, go from person, everybody giving him $10, $5, $2. They're not actually homeless. They're not actually down on their luck. This is Miami Beach. They know the tourists is coming from countries and see somebody down bad, and then they want to, you know, they want to give them some money. This is part of the scam, part of the scheme, right? They'll make themselves look dirty and look bummy, but they're coming from another part of Miami because that's the tourist trap, guys. So you have to be mindful about this and always check the prices of things you buy, you know, because it says one thing, but then they may say the special is over with that and these type of things. So I just wanted to give y'all a quick video on the top 3 tourist traps in Miami that I feel, you know, other places are better. Wynwood, prices and stuff like that is pretty reasonable. Aventura, you know, things are a little bit more straightforward because these are where the tourists, these are where the locals are. Things are a little bit more straightforward in these places. Coco, you know, things are a little bit more straightforward there because these are where the local people live. You know what I mean? But when you get into the tourist areas, Miami Beach, Bayfront Park, Brickell, you have to be a little bit more cognizant on the prices, on what you're buying and where you're staying. I'm your man, James Mack, with a real video. I'm just telling you real facts. If you don't agree, leave something in the comments. If you agree, let me know of your story and what happened to you when you visited Miami and found out that you were in a tourist trap. Like, subscribe, and share. Your man, James Mack.